For 40 years, this city did not exist. Not on maps you could buy, not on flight schedules, and there was no tourist visa that would get you in.
I never visited this city, and I'm really impressed by the scale, the lightning.
Tourist boats sailed past without stopping, and the lights in the cabins were turned off so that passengers would not see the docks of
So
the sea.
this city from 59 to I guess 91, if I'm not mistaken, was closed for foreigners because of here were some important strategic defense factories located.
This city was named Gorky.
Installed those boats. These things are symbolizing boats and the flags of the countries that gathered here for a summit for BRICS in 2024, I think, or 25.
We came here with a man who has 38 fever, no insurance, and no idea where he is. Welcome to Nizhny Novgorod. The decision to sail the city was not coming out of nowhere. In 1956, 22 foreign intelligence officers were caught here. And then, even a Canadian naval attaché was caught right outside of the Sormova shipyards. The Americans wanted to know about tactical nuclear weapons. The British wanted to know about artillery and the Radio Institute. So in 1959, Moscow decided the simplest solution was to make the entire city invisible. During World War II, Nizhny was arming all Soviet Union. The Sormova shipyard built submarines in the middle of the continent on a river. By the end of the Second World War, Sormova had produced 43% of all Soviet submarines. The aircraft factory, now called Sokol, made fighter planes. By the end of 1941, when Moscow was burning, this single factory produced 1 in every 4 Soviet fighters, 24 planes a day. Workers slept on the factory floor. The gas plant built trucks, then military vehicles, then whatever the country needed next. All of those factories today have museums that you can visit.
Here, famous Russian engineer was exiled, Sakharov, the guy who made the atomic bomb for Soviet Union. And he was exiled here to avoid him to have any contacts with some foreigners.
Big One had a list. He wanted to see the submarines and the jet fighters of the World War II. But instead, he had seen the hospital in Nizhny Novgorod. As his fever came back, we called to the city hospital. They asked us not to come with the fever to the hospital because we could infect everybody in the waiting room, and they sent a doctor to us. The doctor came in 2 hours, listened to the lungs, and said that pneumonia is suspected. Then we went to a hospital to make a CT scan. Pneumonia was confirmed. So instead of going to different exhibitions and museums and walk in the city, Big One started. Antibiotics, and I was afraid to leave him for a long time, so I was walking somewhere nearby our hotel.
So the navigation is not working because of the GPS is being jammed and I got lost. I think I came from somewhere here.
Walking through the city was complicated. Mobile internet being shut off in waves for security reasons to lower the chance of drone attacks. I had to download offline maps and learn to read street signs again. Ate in the shop, and the variety of food is extremely huge. They literally have everything. Like, as for the ready food, same for the products. In the evenings, while my partner slept, I would walk somewhere to eat. One night I found a small cafe and sat down alone. The waiter took my order and at some point asked casually if I was traveling by myself. And then I told him the story about my husband and pneumonia. The waiter left, and then when the bill came, there was a slice of a cheesecake on a table. I had not ordered it. The waiter shrugged. For your husband from us. I'm still thinking about that cheesecake, not because it was free, but because someone who had no reason to care decided to send something warm to a stranger that he would never see.
So it is about midnight and I'm going back home. At first I got lost, though it is promised that the application from the whitelist are going to work. It's obviously not true because nothing is working, no applications. That's why it's complicated to navigate. You just come to the point where you don't understand where are you. This is how it is.
On our last evening in Nizhny Novgorod, I stood at the hotel window and looked out at the city. The fever was gone, the antibiotics were working. We were leaving in the morning. Nizhny Novgorod had been open for 35 years now. The shipyard has a museum, the aircraft factory gives tours. There are exhibitions about Sakharov in the apartment where he was kept. Everything that was hidden is now available to look at, but we didn't see any of it. We came here as tourists in 2026 and we left having seen exactly what foreigners were allowed to see in 1975: the river, a hotel room, and the picture of a street lamp on the wall. The city is no longer closed, but somehow we still missed it.